To start discussing the most optimized way to live, we need to understand how humans have a set of needs, which my good friend Maslow has provided for us. At the bottom lies our basic needs, such as food, water, sleep, and safety. So how do we optimize our basic needs? I'd actually say I stumbled upon the best way to cater to our appetite. And this was when I was in college. Most people are constantly thinking about what their next meal is. And they're driving back and forth from different restaurants to figure out what they're gonna eat. And they do this 2 to 3 times every single day. With an inevitable 3 meals a day, you're wasting so much mental bandwidth and wasting so much time just trying to figure out what to eat. What I did in my case when I was in college was I just set aside a few hours just to lay out what I was gonna eat for breakfast, lunch, as a snack, and dinner. Ultimately, I came down to this. I had a breakfast smoothie which contained of bananas, frozen fruits, hemp seeds or chia seeds, oat milk, and other things I'd mix in here and there, such as different powders or whatnot. For lunch and dinner, I'd always eat a salad and some kimchi along with some guac. And then I'd just choose any meat, whether it was fish, beef, pork, or chicken. I'd just go to Costco and buy it all at once in bulk so that it was cost efficient and just overall more productive. Washing dishes, I found out, was a huge waste of time as well. And unless you don't have enough money to either hire a maid or someone who cleans around the house, I found that this was more productive. What I did to circumvent this problem was just to buy paper plates and plastic forks and spoons so that they're all disposable. Doing this decision gets rid of other decisions. By buying all your foods and utensils in bulk, you reduce the activities of choosing different foods, different drinks, and dishwashing altogether. Sam Ovens talks about a concept called reducing a half-life of a decision. When you choose to have one kind of sandwich, the half-life of that decision is 24 hours, if not only just a few hours. Why? Because you have to make that same decision in the next few hours. When you choose something such as a meal delivery service, or you just know off the top of your head what you're gonna eat, such as what I did when I was in college, making that one decision gets rid of all the future decisions that you have to make. And therefore, you're reducing the half-life of that one decision you make. To kind of zoom out, this is a mental model that's applicable to any aspect of life. And what you're essentially doing is having an asymmetric output for an input. When you put something in, you don't want to be having 0 or 1 thing out of that. You want to have 10 or 100x that one input. This applies not just for food, but also for reading, exercising, business decisions. But we'll get into all of that later. Now we all know that it's scientifically backed that you need enough sleep to think critically and most optimally when you're making decisions and doing other kinds of work. But my thoughts on this are kind of different. I think it depends where you're at. If your current work is more heavy and you're quite young, maybe in your 20s, I say all you need is really 5-6 hours. Right now I'm 24 and honestly, nothing hurts. I recover extremely fast and I know that my body isn't going to act like this forever. If your work is more quality heavy and you're making a lot more tougher but less decisions, maybe you're a CEO of some sort, such as Bezos, Warren Buffett, or Elon Musk. I think sleep will be very important and you should be optimally sleeping, getting anywhere from 7 to 8 hours at least. Tracking your sleep is also very important and Aura is a great service that provides this. Health is wealth, and having a set time to exercise every day is really important. You can schedule it in the morning, right after you wake up, or you can schedule it in the middle of the day, in the afternoon, maybe around 4 to 5, to just pick yourself back up. I made a video on how you can productively work out without having to go to the gym and saving your money from gym memberships. So check that video out if you haven't. I personally exercise every day, and it's just in different forms, whether it's cardio, weightlifting, or some other sort of exercise. I don't do it just to stay healthy, but I find it a good way to mentally de-stress and kind of use it as a meditating source as well. When you're working out, you're constantly deep breathing, and that is a form of meditation in my opinion. And it allows you to calm your brain from your work. Stretching is also a really good exercise that I think is really important and necessary for at least one time every week. And so I recommend this form of activity as well. Next up on our hierarchy are our psychological needs. And this relates to our sense of belongingness, community, love, but also productivity and prestigiousness. This ultimately differs with everyone, as everyone's personality types are different. It also depends on what age and what stage of life you're at. I'm guessing most of my viewers are driven to be wealthy, But everyone has their own way of fulfilling their needs, and everyone also has different life experiences. Whether you lack in the aspect of parental love, partnership intimacy, or a sense of community, but this ultimately boils down to what you value. I think as an entrepreneur or a business owner, you need to have a simple life. Running a business is a very complex thing with multidisciplinary facets that all need to be taken care of. And so when you have a complex personal life and mix that with a complex business life, that's just too much to handle, and you'll ultimately burn out and stress out. That's the reason why I think that if you're going to go to an entrepreneurial route, it's better to have a personal life that's very simple and easy to manage while you have a complex business life. Just have a few select people that you feel really close to and that you value very deeply, and vice versa. Because that's all you really need. Just some people that'll have your back when times are rough. But again, this differs for everyone. And if you really, desire a sense of belongingness to a big group of friends or a big group of, a particular interest, I suggest joining a church, maybe for similar religious interests, or a different group that has a similar hobby and interest. I love this quote, and I don't know who it's from, but I think it's great. And it states that perfectionism is not achieved when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take out. Figure out who you value the most, starting from your immediate family down to your friends, peers, and acquaintances. Prioritize and cultivate those relationships from the highest to lowest, while all the other people are people that you simply act cordial with and respectable with. I'm not saying to cut out anybody or disrespect anyone, but you only have a finite number of energy and attention every single day. And when it boils down to who you're going to spend your time with, it's important to know who you're closest with. I say the quality of those relationships are more important than the labels, because we all know family members that can be toxic, or distant relatives or close friends that we knew since high school or whatnot that are very toxic. And so always try to reassess what's aligned with you and your morals and values. Here's another idea that may be controversial to some, but having a low maintenance partner is better for business if you choose to be an entrepreneur. If you have a partner that's constantly bugging you, she's just a drama queen, that'll be very cognitively demanding. And so having that in the back of your mind while you're doing business is not the most optimal way. Again, business is very complex, and so having a love life and personal life that's simple is absolutely necessary in my opinion. Again, there's a finite limit of energy and attention that you have every single day. And so when someone is constantly bugging you and taking up your mental bandwidth and time, it's not optimal. And you need to figure out a way to draw a line and set a border or cut it off completely. It's not the easiest, but it's necessary. Now in terms of productivity, this could be a whole nother video, but a principle that I find true in almost every aspect of productivity is to make less decisions. When it comes down to productivity, I think instead of adding all these new things, new extensions, new tools, new softwares, it's better to get rid of all of them and choose the ones that really matter. You gotta reduce the load and make less decisions so that you can increase your mental clarity and focus on the tasks that you have on hand. People are always seeking more and more stuff to get, to do, to learn. And honestly, you want to do what's opposite of the majority. You don't want to follow the sheep. You want to do the opposite of them. That's why great people are great, because they're rare, they're abnormal, they don't do what everyone else does. And so if everyone is always trying to do more and more things, but never getting really anything done and not becoming great at something, why would you follow that? You want to do the opposite. So get rid of all the extra crap and just focus on your main priority and goal. If you want to be a productivity robot, first get the Chrome extension called Video Speed Controller. You'll see a little tab in front of every video that you watch. And you're going to boost that up all the way to 3x. Because if you're listening to videos at 1x, that's just a complete waste of time. And someone else out there, that's your competition, is watching videos at 3x the speed, meaning that they get the work done 3 times as fast as you are. Jokes aside though, I do think that listening to videos anywhere from 1.5x to 2x, depending on how fast the speaker is or at the rate that you can understand it, is actually pretty helpful and efficient. Some other extensions that are pretty helpful are Momentum, which basically cleans up your homepage and doesn't present to you a whole bunch of websites that you're commonly on. And another one called Newsfeed Eradicator, which basically just gets rid of your whole newsfeed so that you're not constantly distracted by other people or different ads. In terms of social media, I say get rid of it all, including Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. If you need a communication channel, I recommend Slack for everything. In terms of your phone calls and voicemails, don't pick up any phone calls. Phone calls are an extreme waste of time. Just set up your voicemail to say that you couldn't receive the call, but for them to just leave their number, their name, and why they're calling. I deleted my Instagram for 6 months, and when I came back to it, nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing. The same people were posting the same things about their boring little lives and their boring little teacups and their boring little food that they're eating and their little vacays that they're going on. Nothing's changed. You're not missing out on anything. So just focus on you and your work and just get off social media. It'll be worth it. This last hierarchy of needs is related to achieving your full potential. We're all on a road to achieve our fullest potential and to become the most successful person that we can. And some make it because they know how, and others don't because they don't. Taken from Atomic Habits, we all have the same goals of being successful and winning because, let's face it, who wants to lose? Nobody wants to lose. It's just that some people do different things that allow them to be successful. And so it's not really about the goal, but it's about the actions and steps that you take. Of course, defining your goals specifically are important because it provides you a guide and roadmap as to where you're headed. But that's just a part of the equation, and you're gonna have to change your actions and behaviors to really become successful. As you can tell, my approach is very lean, and it's just to cut off all the excess fat that's absolutely unnecessary in every aspect of life, whether it's food, sleep, work, friends and family, everything. Again, especially in this Western world where we all try to accumulate as much material things as possible, this approach isn't very conventional, but people that achieve great things are outliers by definition because they're great, and not a lot of people are great. Greatness is abnormal. Having this lean approach is essential, but I think another approach that's very essential is just to track everything, not only in terms of your business, but your personal life as well, such as your sleep, your diet, everything. For a business, constantly tracking down what brings the most ROI to your business is something that should be constantly assessed and is always changing. In terms of your personal life, you should constantly be tracking what's bringing you the most fulfillment in various aspects of your life. This is also ever changing as well, and it's important to stay disciplined in the things that are working and your specific way of doing things. And it's important to be introspective about yourself because not all people are the same, and just because one person does you to do something a particular way doesn't mean that it's going to work out for you. Everyone's on their own personal journey, and tracking what's best for you is my best advice. When you're not tracking anything, you're essentially a zombie walking around headless. It makes you no different from any other animal that's just eating, sleeping, having sex, shitting, and repeating the cycle. When you have the skill set of tracking everything you do, whether it's your diet, business, and constantly assessing your life, your decisions are data driven. Over time, you're cutting out all of the excess things you find that aren't helpful in any way whatsoever because of what you're tracking will ultimately compound you into a person way farther ahead than the rest of the pack. And this is why people think, how is he able to do this? How is this guy such a machine? How is he so consistent? How is he so successful? Because they're all tracking stuff. Meditations and cold showers are super helpful in alleviating stress and anxiety, being more mindful, and sharpening your mental focus and clarity. For me, meditating in the morning allows me to recollect my thoughts and reframe my mind. And it gives me a chance to just think about my long-term as well as my short-term goals, intentions, and motives. Don't be a monkey machine, just reacting primally to your environment and just living thoughtlessly. All animals have the ability to work because they're animals. And that's why we always compare our work ethic to different animals, such as lions, tigers, whales, whatever. But what differentiates us is that we have our subconscious mind. And the best way to train that part of our brain is to meditate. Also, when you have the ability to take a cold ass shower upon will and face the delayed gratification that your body physically does not feel comfortable in that stage, in that moment of time, but is better for your overall metabolism, cardiovascular health, and overall health in the long run. I'd say you're building the habit of discipline, mental, and physical resilience in order to become successful in other facets of life. Just think about it. If you know that a cold shower is good for you and, promotes muscle healing, muscle recovery, alleviates stress, all these benefits that you can look up on your own time, and you know that this action is primarily guided by you and you only, and you're not able to do that for yourself, how are you going to do anything worthwhile in life when you can't even take a cold ass shower on your own? This plays into different concepts such as delayed gratification over short-term gratification and thinking long-term over short-term. Just like how businesses and different companies that think long-term are way more successful than the ones that only think short-term, you have to make decisions that pays dividends over a lifetime, not a decision that decays. Let its value increase and compound over time. And good decisions have a low downside but a huge upside. And you should be thinking like that in every aspect of your life, with people, money, health, education, and different skill sets such as sales, customer service, fulfillment, product development, hiring people. All of these decisions are things that you make once and that are very hard to do but pays dividends over time. And that's what I'm ultimately trying to stress and emphasize throughout this video. Over a long period of time, over several years and decades, these all turn into different patterns and mental models that you can recognize and switch on or off. And you'll ultimately be able to recognize which ones are bad and good. And the ability to make a certain decision on a quick whim or short period of time will come second nature because you've already done it and experienced it. That's it for the video. Hope you guys learned something. Follow me on all my socials for more content, and I'll catch you guys later.